I know this is going to be a controversial topic, so let's save the hate until the end, okay, champs?
Hold on to your butts.
For those that play physical sports like baseball, basketball, or football, it's clear that there's a distinct difference between what is considered a game and what is considered a sport. But for those that play video games and compete in gaming events, it's not so clear. So are video games a sport? Well, if you ask the know-it-all section of the internet, aka Reddit, then the answer is no. According to a 2014 poll, less than 25% of users considered competitive gaming a sport. It was ranked right above chess, competitive eating, and poker. Apparently, curling, darts, and billiards are more of a sport than video games. But don't take this poll to heart, because while 67% of people polled thought that Formula One racing was a sport, that dropped to 59% when it was NASCAR.
Oh, okay, I see how it is, bro. So if you're a fancy Frenchman or an Italian stallion out there zooming around a racetrack, it's a sport. But the minute a redneck from Kentucky gets behind the wheel, he loses all credibility. What'd it do?
And even Ultimate Frisbee was considered more of a sport than 6 sports that happen to be at the Olympic and Winter Olympic Games.
I see we recruited Reddit's best and brightest for this scientific study.
So who really decides what is and isn't a sport? Let's go old school and figure out what defines a sport versus a game.
That's right. Call up Merriam-Webster and find out what the dictionary says about sports.
So it's established that a sport is a game, but a game is not necessarily a sport. So what's the difference? Well, I'm sure any athlete would jump at the chance to say,
Physically exerting oneself, bro. Physical, okay? Let's get physical. Physical, you know, like the song? Let's get into physics.
Jeremy, he said athlete, not deadbeat.
physical exertion is what separates a sport from a game by definition. Examples of games would be chess or checkers or perhaps poker. And while these games are mentally challenging and demanding, no real physical exertion is needed to play the game.
Darn, you just lost the game!
It meets the other criteria of being a sport. It involves skill, you can compete, but it lacks physical exertion.
And as riveting as chess is, there aren't sellout crowds clamoring to see the next Bobby Fischer claim the mantle of Grandmaster Chess Pants.
That's wizard's chess.
The new bowler for Somerset is off-spinner Heath, who has a cover point, long on, square leg, deep extra cover, and 2 short legs.
So I'm not sure how entertaining that would be.
So where do professional gamers fit into this equation? According to the US, the UK, China, and South Korea, as well as many other countries, gaming is a sport dubbed esports. But then again, this is more of a legality and tax issue versus a definitive statement. Avid and skilled gamers are able to fiercely compete in popular games such as League of Legends, Counter-Strike, Call of Duty, Halo, and countless more, earning 6 figures, sponsorship and endorsement deals, as well as playing sold-out stadiums in front of thousands of people. These games take an incredible amount of skill, hand-eye coordination, and lightning-fast reflexes. In fact, professional gamers are so dependent on reaction time, sometimes making 300 actions per minute, that even the slightest drop-off, which tends to occur around the age of 24, causes players to slip away from the professional scene before they even reach the age of 25, when most people are starting their careers. In an article written for IGN by former NFL linebacker Hunter Hillenmeyer of the Chicago Bears, he states that research backs this up. Elite gamers perform up to 300 actions per minute, which sets the bar in terms of reaction speed and reflexes. It's easy to retort with the gamers don't sweat argument, but it seems pretty arbitrary to draw the line around which body part has to move really fast to make the person an athlete. And if you've ever been in an intense 1v1 situation in any shooter game, then you can attest to the physical changes your body makes as you play. Your heart races, palms are sweaty.
Knees weak, arms spaghetti. There's vomit on his sweater, spaghetti. Mom spaghetti.
So are video games a sport? I think they are. Perhaps not in the traditional sense, which is why the term esports was created, but it's definitely worth discussing because video games are more than just sitting on a couch and pressing a button. Professional gamers train, work out, and play hours on end to perfect their skill and excel at their craft. Hillenmeyer went on to say, I should probably read that as Irma.
194 million Americans play games versus a paltry 93 million who play sports. And as much credit as you deserve for advancing to level 512 of Candy Crush in your last 2 years of poop breaks, that accomplishment doesn't necessarily qualify you as an athlete worthy of the title professional.
A professional pooper, maybe.
Jeremy's a professional pooper. Any kid that poops his pants to get out of a pop quiz deserves the title of professional pooper.
And professional gamers definitely deserve to be recognized for their accomplishments as athletes in their respective sport. Which brings me to my favorite part of the video, Irma's crapometer. How much of a crap should you really give about today's episode?
Today's Turd Fest plops in at 2 out of 5 poops. Apparently, I'm a little too old to jump into the professional esports scene, being that I'm 62 years old and all. Esport video games definitely take a higher level of skill than playing Candy Crush on the toilet. But at the end of the day, who the hell cares if it's classified as a sport per se? If you're reeling in 6 figures playing video games, being considered an athlete is the least of your worries. Just shut the hell up and play the damn game.
That does it for today's episode, dudes. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to show your support and hit that like button. Unfortunately, there won't be any videos next week as I am moving to Portland, Oregon, but I'll be back in full swing the following week. And until then, peace out, what it do.